So we got the Seahawks on Thursday for the second straight week. The Cowboys on Thursday for the second straight week. The game is being played in Dallas. Cowboys favored by 9, I believe it's up to.
Yeah, it's up to 9.
Yep, it's up to 9.
Yep.
The total 46.5. So we are expecting another Cowboy dominant performance at home. Seahawks at some point they got to bounce back, but another tough matchup for Geno Smith and company. Where are you going in the captain spot?
I'm going with CeeDee Lamb here. After his massive 4-game stretch from weeks 6 through 10, he's cooled off a bit. He's been held to 53 yards or fewer in back-to-back games, but he's salvaged both games with a touchdown. But his underlying usage has remained elite. Last week he saw an ADOT of 20 yards downfield, so that was kind of the reason he only got 4 catches on 9 targets, but could have had a massive game if he caught a couple more. I think going forward we'll see his ADOT go back to the sweet spot where it's been all year, around 13 yards. So this is a spot also where you mentioned it that the Cowboys have been in some blowouts the past few games. This one, maybe the starters will get to play the entire game, and maybe have a few more pass attempts in the fourth quarter if Seattle can keep it close. So I think this, we'll see a bounce back game from CD. Not that he's been doing poorly the past couple of games, but I think we'll see a captain worthy game from CD here.
Yeah, for me it's CD and Dak Prescott. Both of those guys are tied in my projections. Dak is actually 400 cheaper, so I'm going with him.
Nice.
But yeah, like CD as well. Seattle's the 23rd ranked pass defense by DVOA according to FTN, and I think Prescott really, the rushing gives him a little bit of added upside. The first 5 games, just 12 carries for 45 yards, no touchdowns. The last 6 games, 22 carries, 106 yards, and 2 scores on the ground. And Dak is the quarterback 3 on the year in terms of fantasy points per game, but for over these last 6 weeks, I mean, he's just been an absolute monster. He's the quarterback 1 over that span. He's been putting up 24 plus in 5 of those 6 games. He's had multiple touchdowns in 5 of those 6, 3 or more in 4 of the last 6 games, and only 1 game with fewer than 272 passing yards in the last 6. So Dak has been a monster. I think, especially after that bye, which was 5 games ago, really like what Dallas has been doing. I thought they used the bye well, kind of switched up some things, throwing more on early downs, mixing in, more of the receivers instead of, just going exclusively with Gallup, Lamb, and Cooks. And it's been clicking for Dallas. So really love what I'm seeing out of Dak. And hopefully finally can kind of shut people up a little, because I know everyone was overreacting to the interceptions last year, even though he's never been a turnover-prone guy. And he really doesn't get enough of the respect that he deserves for really being, I think, one of the better quarterbacks in this league. Obviously, he's going to have to do it in the playoffs, but can't really have much better of a last 6 weeks than Dak Prescott is having at the quarterback position. So like him against the Seahawks team that has been better against the run for the most part. They've kind of fallen off defensively since Uchenna Nwosu's been out on both, pass and run. But I do think Dallas, this is a matchup where they're going to say, let's throw to get the lead, and then we'll figure it out on the ground. So like Dak yet again. Who do you like in the mid-range or for value?
I'm sticking with my boy Zach Charbonnet here, assuming Kenneth Walker misses again. He didn't practice Monday, and it's a short week, so guessing Charbonnet is going to get his second straight start. But, he's disappointed in what's been almost 2 full games without Walker now. I expected a drop in efficiency, certainly with an expanded role, but still, he's not this bad. I think he is going to break out eventually with one of these starts. And I could see people, start to sour on him a bit. Like I said, it's been 2 games now. He's disappointed with an expanded workload. So his rostership might be lower than where it should be here, especially, with the tougher matchup against Dallas. But, he's involved as a pass catcher. So even if this game script does get out of hand, he could rack up catches as well. So, have a little bit of egg on my face last week, losing on his prop, going all in on him. But we're about 1 year removed from me doing that with Kyron Williams. So I got to just stick with my boy, my rookie running back I love. I think he's getting another shot here, so I got to go Charbonnet.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about on Convince Me on the Thanksgiving edition. I think that San Francisco defense is it's just like running into a buzzsaw. It was the wrong time for
Yeah.
Seattle on a short week with everyone hurt and the quarterback banged up. You know, yes, San Francisco had been a little shaky against the run, but they have everyone's former number one pick on the defensive line. It's
No
just it
kidding.
was just a bad time. And I mean, granted, this is not much better, but at some point, I think Seattle just has to say we have to run the ball. We
Yeah.
have to put. They have like 4 tight ends active every week. I mean, just put a bunch, and I think they have the fullback Belore who,
Yep.
can play fullback. It's like just get some heavy personnel in there and see if you can't, move the line of scrimmage and churn out 5 yards of carry. And because I
Yep.
mean, Seattle, they're piss poor on third down, and this has been an issue even going back to Russ. So yeah, I'm just looking for some changes out of Seattle. Now it's not the true short week because they had a game last Thursday, so I'm hoping they can make some adjustments because this offense, for all the talented skill players they have, this offense has been a big heaping pile of shit for like I feel like half of the year. Really, it's been like, yeah, we're low on Geno. Oh, like is Lockett healthy? Is Metcalf healthy? Is JSN like it's short targets? I mean, it's been ugly for the most part. Kenneth Walker really in the backfield has been the only kind of saving grace. But hopefully Charbonnet can keep it going. I like JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba this week, 5,200 on DraftKings, so pretty good price. And his route participation rate jumped over 80% last week. And he's that clear number 3 receiver. But as I mentioned, Metcalf doesn't look quite right since that rib injury. Like kind of like it's bothering him a little bit catching the football. Tyler Lockett seems like he's on an injury report every week and then gets taken off. But is he fully healthy? I don't know. Either way, I think this is a good spot for JSN to keep ascending, and the matchup itself is pretty good for him, as good as it can be for one of the top defenses in the game, I should say, because Dallas does play the most man coverage, and JSN the second most yardage on the Seahawks against man coverage. His yards per route 1.9 against man coverage and just 0.9 against zone, so more than double his production per route when he goes up against man coverage, which we know Dallas is going to challenge you with a lot of man coverage. So I think this is a good spot for JSN. And if it's a blowout, that only helps. So, yeah, like him. And another guy I mentioned is Rico Dowdle. He's a guy who he's that number 2 back. He's a clear number 2. It's not like a 1A, 1B situation or anything like that. But anytime you have Dallas as a favorite at home, I think you have to, or really a favorite anywhere, I think you have to consider Dowdle because Dallas has been blowing teams out. And because of that, you're going to see a guy like Dowdle get in a game, and Deuce Vaughn, their number 3 running back, hasn't been active most weeks. So when Dallas starts blowing people out and Tony Pollard has to come out, it's Dowdle. When Tony Pollard just needs a breather when the game is close, it's Dowdle. So Dowdle got in the end zone again, even though he only had a handful of touches last week. So I think he's a guy to keep firing up here, offer some value. And there's a chance if like a guy like, let's say Charbonnet doesn't score and just gets like 15, 17 touches for like 70 yards, 80 yards. If Dowdle can score, he could kind of be, he could kind of put up that same production for, about 2,500 less. So even though he's not going to get anywhere near the amount of touches. So like Dowdle as well as JSN in the mid range. Who do you like the low end?
The low end, we're going low here. Jake Bobo. He doesn't get much playing time as the wide receiver 4, but he's a good red zone target. He's 6'4". So they've been using him a little bit more around the goal line. He had back-to-back weeks with a touchdown back in week 6 and 7. So we're just looking for a cheap touchdown here. Maybe some potential garbage time work. If they are down big, they'll put Bobo out there, especially since you said, DK and Lockett, they're just been banged up for like a few weeks now. So he could get some playing time if one of them, has to leave the game. So he's definitely worth a flyer on the 1 game slate here.
Yeah, I like Bobo. I'm surprised he hasn't continued to kind of see a uptick. It kind of goes up and down the point in time with him. I guess such is the life as a number 4 wideout. But, he's been, I think the Seahawks would admit they've been pleasantly surprised
Yeah.
by Bobo. So yeah, another guy, because it's, because Dallas plays so much man coverage, it's tough to get the tight ends open against them. They don't really give up much, and these Seahawks tight ends really haven't been productive against man coverage. It's been mostly when there's soft spots in the zones and they could just kind of scheme stuff. So you would expect a lot of the passing production, however much that is, to be funneled to the wide receivers in this spot against Dallas, even though Dallas just been so good all the way around. It's tough, but the number 4 for Seattle, I think, is perfect, because at least you don't go against Dallas's top 3 corners most of the time either. I'm going with another guy kind of in that similar range, Jalen Tolbert. He is wide receiver 3/4 for the Cowboys, but multiple receptions, 3 or more targets in each of the last 4 games, 5 or more targets in 3 of the last 4 games. So I think Tolbert playing around 40-ish% of the snaps in the past game, which is pretty decent, especially when you're playing with the hottest quarterback in the league right now, and Dak Prescott. I think that's enough for him to potentially put up a productive afternoon here. Brandon Cooks has been going off. CeeDee Lamb's going to get his, but when Brandon Cooks kind of takes a break, somebody else got to step it up, like Ferguson as well this week. But Tolbert kind of sticks out on that low end as a guy who could outperform that $3K salary.
Yeah, you said he's similar to Bobo. He is much better than Bobo. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, he's settled in at 40% routes run rate, and Gallup, 45%. But he outplayed Gallup again, so I just wouldn't be shocked if his playing time only goes up. So I think he has a fairly high floor right now for a wide receiver 4, I guess. But I think that any one of these weeks he could go over a 60% route participation, just how well he has been playing.
Yeah, it's like they gave Gallup, I think, that first target of the game to get his confidence up. He got 1 catch, and that was it. Like that was his only catch. It's like they're trying to keep him.
Blood pressure on my under 24.5 for him. But I think that was a scripted up target for Gallup for sure.
Yeah. And I think you had Isaiah Hodgins under 2, if I'm not mistaken, and he got 1 catch for a touchdown, but that was his only catch. So
it was a big catch, but
you're on fire with these kind of stiff wide receiver unders here.